incessantly, and that is the humanity balancing act with technology, and especially as a leader. And so we have the just distinct pleasure to hang out with my friend Kathleen Ross, award-winning brand extraordinaire. She works with Fortune 100 and 1,000 companies, doing great stuff with them. She spends a lot of time in the AI world, and it's one of her specialties. So we figured, what better way to have some value for the leaders that chime in every Wednesday than to bring in somebody that's got 15 years of experience in this thing that feels like it hit yesterday, but it's been brewing for a while. So, Kathleen, welcome to Leadership Live, and say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to see everybody again here today. It's my second time joining a Leadership Live. So I've been part of the Fuel team since the early days, and it's incredible to see how much it's grown, and just thrilled to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is
You get very passionate
human,
about this. I love it. I love it.
human plus AI. Yes. And we got some people joining from all over the country, I see in the
Tell us where you're
chat.
coming from. I'm in Las Vegas today, and so I'll put that in real quick.
Yeah,
And
I'm in Miami, Florida. Yeah, always
Miami,
a beautiful day here in Miami, Florida. I see we got Vegas, Virginia, Florida, Texas, all over.
yeah,
So
Madison just joined Wisconsin. That's good. I'm thinking about a little bit of cheese, maybe, right? A little steak and cheese. Not to sound
yeah.
cheesy, but all right. Well, we're going to kick this off. We've got more than enough material to kind of navigate our way through in the next hour. But since you guys are all leaders, and Leadership Live is about developing leaders to not only be the best version of themselves, but help people on their team obviously become the best version of themselves. And we define followership as people follow you because what you're doing for them, and how you're helping them navigate their own career path and develop the skills necessary, mindset necessary to win at the game of business, which also then obviously helps you win at the game of life. So let's start with an obvious question, Kathleen. Let's start with what mindset shifts do leaders need to really consider to be successful now that we are officially in the age of AI?
Well, one of the number one mindset shifts we know we need as leaders always is adaptability. I would say that AI is forcing us to take that to a whole new level because change is happening at a speed that is almost unfathomable, something that we have never seen before. And so, just the constant iteration and change and flexibility and being able to navigate this much newness, new tools daily, new information daily, is just at an extreme. So if we all thought that we were good with change, that we had been, we've been in leadership for a while, we know we've done change management, we've been through a lot of things, we've started businesses, we've stopped businesses, we've been through it all. This is just getting started when it comes to AI because the workforce, the way we do things has completely and fundamentally changed from before. Now, certain things will stay the same, and I'm excited we'll talk about a few of those, especially around the whole subject being human.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to what we're used to, with the way we communicate, there's been a huge fundamental shift. And another aspect that I look at besides just change is that humility, because we do not know what is going to look like the future. Even the experts are saying it's going to look like this. We have predictions. It's going to look like this in 10 years. We all still are waiting. Why don't we all have self-driving cars today? Why is the robot not folding my laundry today? Well, the technology is there. It's just not happened quite yet. So predictions are out there, but we all have to come from this humble place of saying we're not sure what's going to happen. So we're just going to adapt and build this muscle of resiliency through this change.
So it's very interesting you bring up what you just brought up. So yesterday, my wife and I are in our car, and there's cars that have, I don't know, 50 cameras mounted to the outside of them in Vegas, and the company's called Zoox. And
Oh,
and they're driving everywhere you go. You just see them, and they have a human driving the car, and they are mapping everything in Las Vegas, right? So yesterday, from the time that we left our place and got to the place that we were going, we saw 9 driverless cars just going driving through the streets of Las Vegas, and no driver and no passenger. So it's all obviously a test, but these changes are very, very real. When you see a car that is a transport car like a taxi, and it looks like it's still 20 years away from being real, and there's nobody in it, and it stops at a red light, and it goes at a green light, and you think, all right, it's happening, right? And you can't stop it. And part of the shift in mindset, I think, is not only humility and resilience, but I think it's embracing the idea that this is here. And what we know about everything is perspective is everything. And the way you see the change is everything. And
Yeah.
the adaptability in how you use the change is everything. The more that I'm using technology, the more friendly I feel technology is. So let's get to this. You talk a lot about AI first mindset, just
Yeah.
really honing in on that. What is an example of, and well, AI first. And I want to invite all of you to put questions into chat. We are here to serve, and the questions you might have, I believe Kathleen can answer. So talk about AI
Yes.
mindset.
Well, the first thing is that another leadership shift when it comes to AI first mindset is that we all just got a promotion. If you're in a leadership position or you're not, guess what? We all are, because now we have AI assistants and we have technology to support us, and we are managing them in a natural language way, similar, not the same, but similar to how we communicate with people. Now, when it comes to AI first mindset, I always think about taking a step back and asking yourself, how can I add AI? What are the things that I need to do? Where are the places that I could add AI into my workflow? So it's not just I have this one tool or I do this one thing. It's trying to bring AI into everything you do as an assistant, as a co-pilot, as a part of what you do. So that's having AI in all of your meetings, note takers, to having communication, AI as a team sport with other people, iterating with AI live. That's AI first. And the challenge with an AI first mindset, because we want such immediate, quick results, is that you might need to blow up, completely transform some of the ways that you're currently doing things. And going back to that adaptability and that change mindset, that can be tough sometimes. We're used to writing things out. We're used to doing some of these manual processes, which now can be enhanced and done better or supported by AI. So you have to be okay with going through that a little bit of frustration, that testing, that iteration of changing the way that you work. So this is what an AI first mindset is. It's not just, okay, what are the small things that I can do in the little wins? It's really, how do I rethink the way that I work completely with myself and others, and where AI can come in and support me throughout the process.
And I think one of the key words there is support, right? And what I can tell you, just from my kind of limited knowledge of the bigger picture, and there's some good questions coming in here, is because generative AI is always changing, and it's changing based on inputs and exchanges and conversations. And knowledge bases are becoming one of the driving forces behind how do you use those models, right, in business. And so when you think about organizations and leadership, and you think about, like, there is something today where we're testing, where, like, you can have a director of human resources or a director of sales, and you can build a model around that person and all of the content that they have created in their job role for the last year, the last 2 years, whatever it is. What are the questions that employees ask? What are the questions that salespeople ask their manager, right? And you're not removing the human, but you're improving the entire efficiency of an organization, so that there's not only legacy content left behind if a person moves on. But then there's also this library, this deep knowledge base. And so when I think about it, I'm thinking the role of a leader is to use technology, and in this case, the humanity of AI, to speed the solutions he or she creates for his or her team, and do it in a way where you understand that the technology is here to stay. I'm going to show everybody a couple of examples as we move along in this, but I'd like you to answer from your perspective, Kathleen. There's my wife and I watched a two-part Garth Brooks documentary a couple years ago, and he was talking about the lessons his dad taught him. And he said one of the lessons his father taught him was that every curse there's a blessing, and with every blessing there's a curse. And we know that there's always that perspective again, right? So when you think about organizations role shifting, taking advantage of the humanity piece side by side with the AI piece, what do you say? What is the role of leaders and organizations going forward?
There a lot. Well, the first thing that I think about is access, especially in the examples that you were talking about there, where the CEO of a company, a massive company, can create their own, custom interactive chat visual with like you're creating here on Fuel, where any person in the company can have access to them. Same thing with the HR aspect, where there's the legacy information of that person by copying and creating SOPs based on all their knowledge, but also there's people can ask questions in real time in any language. So the wide breadth is technology is amplifying that person's knowledge. So it's still our jobs as leaders to focus on what are the things that I need to communicate, how's the best way to communicate them, what is my institutional knowledge, what are my processes, because AI doesn't have those things. AI is going to amplify and communicate based on what it's prompted and what's in its knowledge base. So we need to continue to iterate and share our knowledge with the world, and now we have AI to amplify it. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that still like we're going to talk about those things too. Like what is uniquely human? What does the human need to do that AI can still not do? But I think shifting your perspective of, oh, is this, scary? Is this going to take my job? Those types of things. It's really about how can I utilize this technology to get my knowledge to other people? How can I help more people? How can I scale and reach more people? How can I make my information more accessible with the technology?
Right. So let's hit the idea of agents and GPTs and bots. Why does this matter? And as soon as you're done answering this, I'm just going to illustrate to the audience what this actually can look like when it's in action.
Yes. Okay, so some nuance on some language because there's a lot of like AI, agentic, everybody wants to have call something an agent. And so for my terminology, this is how I make the difference. So there's chatbots, right, which is predictive model back and forth, simple predictive, what's next, right, based on its existing knowledge base. That's when you communicate with ChatGPT and you can upload your own GPTs, right? Well, that is literally just call and answer based on the existing knowledge base. Then we get into the category of AI automations, which it can take AI automations is when you connect two different things and you're allowing AI to take certain steps based on a task, right? So you give it a task, search for this thing, right? And then go to this next step. So it can go and complete a task. When we talk about agents, the big difference that I like to communicate is around reasoning and taking action on a goal. So you're not just giving it a specific task or it's not just call and response. You're giving it a big goal. It may not know exactly all the steps to get to that next big goal, right? And you're not giving it do this, then this, and this. You're saying, I'm going to Switzerland, help me plan my trip, and it can go through, can actually even book your flights. Now, there's this aspect of, is an agent better than an automation? Is it better than a chatbot? They're all great because we want to be in control of when we have the human in the loop. not all companies and not all people need full agentic capabilities. We don't necessarily want AI to be doing all this stuff for us and taking action on everything. So I always try to start there because there's a lot of different language and terminology. I see a lot, even companies call things agents that I would consider more of an automation. But I also like to say, just because something's an automation in marketing doesn't mean it's bad. It's a great help. Just because something's a GPT or a custom knowledge base, it still can be a huge help. It's that agentic, this is the year of the agent, 2025, year of the agent. So we're going to start to see more and more communication around agents, but that's what I want you to think about if you're trying to start creating agents is how can it actually take action on goals. So that's kind of like my differentiation between the differences. And I want to go back to this concept about the human in the loop because that is a key piece. We want to still have certain area and control and be able to communicate and iterate. And we don't necessarily want everything to be an agent where AI is completely gone off and it can waste time, it can make mistakes. But even if it does a great job, you may not want everything to be an agent. So those are the reason that it matters because of the differences is that you may decide, I just want an automation support here. I just want to create a knowledge base and be able to call and response from a knowledge base. That's awesome. It's when you start to connect things and then try to get towards the goal aspect, that's when we're starting to get into agentic workflows.
It's really good, and it's really complementary when we understand the power of this. So you guys are all Fuel subscribers, and so let me just show you what this looks like in action real quick. And I think we get this done pretty quickly. Let me turn on the sound. Let's see here, turn on original sound. Okay, and then we'll go. Yeah, so let me just see if the sound is on. So let's pull up an example of an instructor. And let's see if this is going to be very interesting if this is turned off. Let's see here. I know we're doing an upload right now. All right, so maybe not.
Currently, you're sharing your full screen, not the window, so it's a little small for people.
Oh, okay. So I'm hitting on, this is just the screen, right? So Scott, this is what we normally do. So let me just back off of this for a sec. Yeah, so Kathleen, let's go to the next question, and then I'll try and figure this out. But so when you guys throw some questions into chat, Kathleen and I are taking a look at them. Let's get into the depth of the balancing act between humanity, AI, and then I will just, Scott, if you could just ping Greg in Slack and ask him if the AI is turned on for my demo, that'd be great. All right,
Yeah,
Kathleen, go ahead.
well, we have some questions in the chat, but I hear a little bit of an echo. Do you all hear that?
I don't have an echo on my end.
Okay. Other people are saying they hear it as
Okay,
well.
You want to go back to your regular mic? Let's see if that works.
Oh,
Scott,
they're
can you hear
saying
that?
Scott,
Yeah, turn off your mic.
turn off your mic. Let's try. No?
Still there?
Let's see. Yes. There's still an echo. Okay. Nope.
That's why
AI should be able to solve this.
I know it should be able to go and tell us, mute your phone, mute your mics, guys.
Oh, I don't know. Let's try that. Do you still hear it? I still hear it.
Scott, do you know where that echo is coming from?
Is it coming from your computer since you're sharing the audio?
I don't think so, but let me, because I turned that off. Let's see here. Off. Is that better?
Let's try. Yeah. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Thumbs up in the chat. Let's
Thank you,
see.
Scott. That was on me. You're right.
Okay, awesome. So there's a few questions in here. The most recent one I see is, okay, as a CMO and a story master, how have you seen AI activate creativity and how have you seen it limit it? This is such an awesome question. Okay,
Go.
so I always like to do brainstorm. AI can be a thought partner, but I like to brainstorm and do my first draft with my team, iterating with and without ChatGPT. And usually the first draft any AI tool, which we're using at the time. We're usually doing our first draft from here because I want that idea to be unique and I want it to be able to kind of go through the process of how we typically brainstorm. And then we use AI to support us with research, with all different aspects when we're working on storytelling, when we're working on campaigns. Now, the sky's the limit now. And so what I talk about a lot is we all have a movie, a Hollywood movie set in our phones, right? We have access to unlimited creativity. We can create an entire film with some work, but with AI already, we can create almost any image that we can imagine. So it's both an opportunity and a limiter because there is this risk of everything becoming the same, right? Especially if we're reliant on just what the technology comes up with basic prompting. So you really have to go through that iterative process. And that's why I like to start with a little bit limited or just research-based communication with AI when we're starting a process. And then we use AI throughout the steps to enhance it, or we're speaking an idea and then AI can actually go on an action from a single voice prompt all the way to creating and posting something on YouTube. So it's a risk because we all have the same access. So there's even studies have been done where marketers are saying like, I am both excited and think this is an amplifier of creativity, and I'm also concerned that everything can look the same. So it's definitely something that we need to continue to watch. I do think that culturally we will see a complete counterculture to AI in certain areas where handcrafted will become more valuable. We're already going to see companies taking an AI-free position, although that's going to be very difficult as technology continues to take over everything. Like even news sources that say that they're going to be AI-free is going to be taking from news sources that are not AI-free. So it's going to be, technology is completely part of our world at this point, so it's going to be hard to do that, but there is definitely going to be a little bit of a counterculture to an AI free or AI like less AI in the creation process for marketing. It's going to be niche, but that's how we go about it.
There's a counterculture to all advancement.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah, period. I mean, I remember how hard it was for me to break away, and some of you are going to go, "What?" Because you've never had this, but I remember how hard it was to break away from paper airline tickets to paperless, right? And it was just like, okay, well, I got to get on that. And for about a year, I made sure I had the paper ticket, and now it's all on technology on your phone, and everything is advancing. There's always a counterculture to advancement. I think it's all new. There was countercultures to Yelp and countercultures to Uber and countercultures to all these things before they became what acceptable and modern day tools. So
yeah, there's a few other questions in here. Joel's shared a few questions. One is
go ahead, and then I do have I did have to.
Oh, you got it? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. We'll go through. I see Joel wrote a few great questions
Yeah,
and
go
really
with
wanted
Joel
to
first, and then- yeah.
zoom out. Joel's saying zoom out, zoom out. Okay, so how will leaders train their teams to interact with AI when AI is the prospect or the customer? This is really interesting because there's a huge conversation around like, what is the purpose of UX, AI to AI communication, multi-agent communication. So there's going to need to be protocols, right? As there already should be with companies, and the way that you decide like what is it that you are going to feed to AI? Are you set up as a company, like from today, speaking today, are you set up as a company to share certain data with different AI tools? Like there needs to be a protocol in place. So like that's the basic training for today. As we go forward, I mean, this is something that all needs to be developed. And it's going to be a lot about actually training even AI to AI communication, as well as training humans how to communicate with AI. So really how we set up how we set up the technology and how we set up the training will be critical. So these are great, really great zoom out conversations, because there's big questions like, what is the purpose of a website? It's voice is going to continue to be more and more common, where we're going to just be able to say, I need new shoes, and AI is going to go out, research, and be able to already order them. It can already be done today. So there's going to be a big shift in the way that we communicate with AI and how AI communicates with itself. And we may or may not even we likely will not be a part of all the AI to AI communication. So we'll have to set up protocols and process for when we're building those tools.
Yeah, yeah. Let's do Donnie Tuttle real quick. Tom Kathleen, how does this bode for face-to-face and face-to-face business methodologies? Do you have a thought on that?
I do, but I really want to know what you have to say about that as the sales guru. I mean, I think there's always going to be a place for it. I think we crave it. We've seen it through like going through a global pandemic to going back into office. There's still a lot of companies that are saying, we want people face to face. I can tell you that there's a time and a place for it. I still think that it's going to be valuable. But the funniest thing is now, even when I'm in face to face meetings, sometimes I just wish that I'm going to probably get a device so that I want to be so present that I don't want to have to worry about taking notes anymore. And so I'm so used to being in virtual spaces where everything is recorded for me and I can just go and ask what happened. So I think we will even see like wearables and technology being integrated even more to the face to face. But I don't see, we're humans, we're community by nature. I still see a huge need for this, and hopefully technology will help us do even more of it.
Well, and I think so, because I think that at the end of the day, if you really are not in the counterculture and you're in the embracing culture, right? Speed and knowledge is power. And if we can get answers to questions, and if we can help an employee in a critical situation much more quickly with much more human connection and authority, even though it's still driven by automation, isn't that a good thing? If I'm an employee, would I like potentially an answer from my leader about something important to me today? Or would I like to wait a week? Or would I like it in the next hour? Or would I like to even go there and just have an interaction with him or her and trust it enough that that could be the great answer, right? So let's try this again. I think we're unlocked, and let me get to the. Uh,
We still see your full screen, including
yeah,
text message and everything.
it's interesting because that's not how I'm showing it. Um, let's go to another question, and we'll just keep working on it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I love Donnie had shared a thought here, which it says the power is no longer having the knowledge, but asking the best questions. And I think this is true. I mean, this goes back to like how well can you prompt, how well can you communicate with AI is a huge differentiator. I still think that we have our own, and like all of our knowledge is not on the internet yet. And as individuals, our human consciousness, our human intuition, and all of our individual knowledge is not there yet. I mean, certainly it's at a scale of the entire internet's already being trained on these large language models and a lot of these tools. But how you're going to get the best output with AI is definitely, are you able to ask the best questions? And even as a leader, I mean, if you look at what we've known for a long time, it's the best leaders are the ones who know how to ask the right questions. So this was a brilliant insight that you shared, Donnie. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is to be able to be in the moment, right? There's like yesterday I had a call in the morning and I did a 10-minute kind of interaction with a bot, a GPT, a human version of that, and I got some really cool answers pretty quickly. So situational availability situational kind of role playing, situational preparation. I mean, all those things are available today, and I don't think you could be a good leader unless you embrace the idea that there is situation after situation after situation that happens all day long in our role as leaders that we now have lightning speed access to. And let's face it, we're in a world of solutions. We're in a world of helping people solve what's going on, whether they're an employee, a client, a vendor, whatever it is. And so if we have that real time access, that's a very, very good thing for us to have. So let's see. We have some more questions here. Donnie says,
Alex.
age of creatives. You're a creative, aren't you, Kathleen?
Yeah, that's definitely my background. I think the access to being able to take a thought and turn it into a tangible, visible thing is now just a few keystrokes away. It's truly incredible. I mean, you can create anything with, a voice prompt or typing a prompt in. So it is definitely the age of creatives, and in scale as well. So that's where we get into this risk of quality versus quantity. But I think that because there's certainly, like, I think we can all see it, like there is complete AI slop, they call it, on the internet, where it's just like, this is not well thought out, this was not, this is just kind of junk. I think we're going to get past that pretty soon, and we're going to get into more like the people who are standing out are taking AI and being able to amplify and create at scale, but utilizing like a unique perspective. So it's both. There's duality in it. But I think what Alex asked is, I think AI gives the power to all creatives. Yes.
Yeah.
Hiring creatives should be at the top of everyone's list. Teaching people how to think creatively is going to be key. Yes.
I agree with that. I agree with it. All right, let me try one more time because I'm gonna. This for some reason the layout button was wrong, but let me see if this is right. Does that show it, Kathleen, the right way, or is it the whole screen?
Yes, there we go.
Okay, so now I gotta. Sound. It's not. It's
It
not.
looks perfect to me. I don't hear anything from our amazing instructors here, and I see lots of great friends.
But I'm using. Let's see here. I'm on the share sound, and this is the first time I've not been able to see the sound button. All right, let's pull up one and see if you guys can hear it. So Kathleen, tell me if you can hear Angie.
Hi, Todd. How can I help you today?
Can you hear that?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Angie, had a really horrible night sleeping and need to know a couple things you would recommend for me to get a better night's sleep tonight.
I'm sorry to hear you've had a rough night. When it comes to improving sleep, focusing on your sleep hygiene and circadian rhythm can make a big difference. Try to create a calming bedtime routine that helps you decompress for at least an hour before bed, avoid screens and blue light during that time, and aim to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. Also, getting some natural sunlight in the morning and evening helps regulate your sleep cycle. Would you like me to walk you through some specific steps or tips to try tonight?
Just tell me one thing tonight. I don't want a whole big list, but what's one thing tonight you'd recommend?
Here's a thought. Try putting your phone away at least an hour before bed tonight. The blue light and the mental stimulation from scrolling can really mess with your ability to fall asleep. Instead,
So you can see the power of this just in that example right there. And then let me show you another one too, which is kind of cool. Let's go to Donnie real quick. Let's see what Donnie has to say.
Hi, Todd. How can I help you today?
Hey, Donnie, I've got a coaching situation coming up with an employee that has kind of turned the wrong way with attitude. Really used to be really, really good, and something's going on. What would you advise me to do?
Hey, Todd, that's a tough spot, but a common one. First, I'd suggest having a recommitment conversation with that employee. It's about getting clear on where they're at, what's changed, and whether they still want the goals they set. You want to ask questions like, how do you think it's going? And do you still want the thing you said you wanted? This helps uncover if they're still committed or if something else is going on. If they're not committed, you either coach them back in or coach them out, depending on their willingness to engage. Would you like me to walk you through the exact questions and approach for that conversation?
No, that sounds good. Thanks. So then we'll just do one more to show you kind of the ability to engage here. So this is Chris Peel. He's a great sales leader.
Hi, Todd. How can I help you today?
Chris, I've got to make 10 cold calls today. I never like making cold calls. And what can you share with me, or even role play with me to be better at setting appointments, making cold calls?
I hear you, Todd. Cold calling can feel uncomfortable, but it's really about mastering a few key steps to build trust quickly and get curiosity going. Try this. Start your call by acknowledging you're an interruption. Say something like, I know I'm an interruption. That shows you see the world through their eyes and lowers their guard. Then follow with, can I have 27 seconds to tell you why I called? Said with a playful, curious tone. That invites them to listen without feeling pressured. Would you like me to set up a quick role play where you practice those first lines and I play the prospect?
Sure, let's do that.
Great. Imagine you're calling a busy operations manager at a tech company. They just picked up the phone. Go ahead and start with the first line. I know I'm an interruption, and then follow with, can I have 27 seconds to tell you why I called? I'll respond as the prospect whenever you're ready.
Hey, Chris, one tech guy to the next. I know you weren't planning on receiving this call. I know I'm an interruption. Can I have 27 seconds to tell you why I called?
Nice start, Todd. You nailed the acknowledgement and the playful tone. Just a small tweak. Keep it simple and stick to the exact phrase for clarity and rhythm.
So this is where the age, right, of coaching and interaction and so on and so forth is going. And by the way, all the AI agents at Fuel speak every language. And so you can ask them to give you the answer in a language. If you speak the native language, you can ask the question in the native language. And it's just, I mean, the force du jour of knowledge on demand. It's here. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking what we just did. Kathleen, what's your take on being a Fuel instructor, knowing that we're getting your bot ready to go as well? But what's your take on all this?
Yeah, well, the reason I was really excited when you showed me this and I knew that it was well done is that it's trained in a closed system. So it's not going to falsely answer. I mean, of course, all AI can make mistakes as humans, and it's only as good as the technology, as the data it's trained on. But as I've tested these tools, since I've seen the demo, as you were just starting it when it first kind of came out, it's done very well. Each instructor's is going to be hyper targeted to their knowledge, to the information that they trained on, and it also connects back to the Fuel content. So I love this interactive style of learning. And I've learned a lot from connecting with Fuel and being on board since the beginning, which is really about this micro learning. And as an instructor, it's a little bit difficult because I'm used to long form learning. I'm used to having, keynotes and being in front of big groups of people where I have 60 minutes, I have 30 minutes. So being able to, really get concise and down to the most important point in this micro module approach and micro learning approach has been a great lesson to me. And I've been excited in preparing parts of my course, and I've done quite a few, leadership lives and different things here. So it's been fun. And I really think that Fuel is onto something big, and it's the proof has been in the pudding with the attraction of all the amazing instructors. That's another, of course, besides the incredible Todd, getting to see all the other amazing instructors involved just shows you the quality and the caliber of the content. And then all these users that you have coming on. It's really been tremendous to watch it scale.
Well, and what's happening, thank you for that. And my blessing, and Alex, my partner, feels the same way, is that we have a world-class group of instructors. And so, as a reminder, you get access to every instructor every single week. Any instructors that you would like to, present to your group or to an annual meeting or anything like that, they're here to do that. When we started the company, we had 2 criteria for instructors. And then I want to get back to what we're doing right here. But the criteria was you had a heart to share, and you had content that you would let us remaster into microlearning. And just as an exclamation point on the side, many people think microlearning is taking a 60-minute keynote and chopping it up. Microlearning is not that. Microlearning is taking something and reinventing it and remastering it for the shortest amount of learning time it would take for you to take action on that idea. We have instructors right now that have 1 minute lessons. 1 minute lessons.
Yeah.
Connie Sanchez, who you know, just recorded her entire course for moms, the 8 non-negotiables for working moms, and each lesson averaged 3 minutes and 30 seconds with a takeaway. So it's all beautiful because we're in a oftentimes referred to microwave world, and people, I want people to read the whole book. I write books for people to read the whole book. But if I could take a chapter that's 20 pages and do a 2 minute lesson and give you that walk away and you could own it, that is a really, really good thing.
It's
Okay.
it's a great lesson in leadership in itself to be as clear and concise as possible to get the message out. So it's been a great exercise.
Okay. So I don't know if you did this when I was trying to go back and forth to our agents, but what are some of the favorite tools that you're seeing right now that are out there that leaders that are on this call and live streaming on YouTube could use?
Yeah. Okay. So my favorite tools right now, I don't know if anyone has played with Nano Banana. That is the fun new tool right now for image generation. This is in Gemini's suite. This is a Google tool. And what it allows us to do is have a lot more control over combining images, making changes on images without completely changing the entire image. So if you've ever tried, a lot of people use, ChatGPT for image creation. It's not my favorite tool for image creation right now. But what they'll do is they'll say, Kathleen, I tried to change my shirt and now it's changed my whole face and I look weird. This is what Nano Banana's for. There were quite a few other startups who had this technology and it did a really good job with it, but Google came in overnight and kind of brought a great tool to market. So Nano Banana is my favorite for, being able to change my shirt. It's huge for fashion companies. I updated my headshot because I had a client that I was doing a repeat keynote for, and they're like, hey, do you have any new pictures for you? Well, I wanted the same look, but I changed my outfit. So there's so endless possibilities there. You can then take that into any runway or any other VO3 you can animate. My favorite image generation tool is Midjourney. I know I've been using Midjourney since it was on this program called Discord. It was really clunky and hard to use. Now it's super easy to use. You can use it right in the web browser. And I find that it does the best job with realistic image creation of people, especially with texture. If you're doing anything in the campaign space, I love this tool. If I still find that the human skin texture is not quite right, there's a tool called Enhancer with an OR.ai that's like my favorite for regeneration of skin texture. There's also Topaz Labs if you want to up-res images. Okay, let's think. Make for agents, if you want, it's because I think it's the most approachable. So if you want to do any type of marketing automations and you're not already on Zapier and you maybe heard of N8N and that is overwhelming, Make is a very user-friendly builder for marketing automations, AI. And Gamma for presentations. I can keep going on. Yeah, I will make a list for you for sure. But I can also tell you what is not great with AI still, which I think is actually even more interesting. AI still, I've tested so many tools, even though I said Gamma is great, I think presentation is something we'll see get better. Because Beautiful, Gamma, and ChatGPT, none of them, I still have to keep on redoing my presentation. So there's still room to grow there. Graphic design, ChatGPT can kind of get you there. But we still have designers and there's still quite a need for their help. And then video editing. So those are the places like that I'm excited to continue to test more tools and see advancements there.
I just put all of them. I didn't put the web address in, but I put in chat. So you guys will have that from Kathleen and my prep of her time here together today. So let's throw some more questions in here that you guys may have. We do have another question that I'll prompt and then we'll see what happens in the chat. But in your opinion, where are the top 3 to 5, there's no magic number, areas of replacement in 2025, concrete moments and decisions that people are going to obviously be led to make. You made a comment at the very start that that the robots are here, but they're just not public. Our agents, our AI agents, are going live this month at some point in time. So it's nice to see it, but then it's really great when it's out there. But what are the positions and the places that you think are vulnerable? Or not vulnerable in a negative sense, just it's going to make sense to reposition people and to repurpose people and so on. So
Yeah.
tell us where you're at on that.
Well, I'm in marketing, so there's one that I've seen since honestly 2023 that I've a big agency partners of mine and micro agency friends of mine, they started to lay off their copywriters pretty quickly. And it seemed like a pretty simple place to be, like that was like a simple cut. And I saw people even like direct big roles, director of communications, and the mentality was we'll just have AI do it. I think that's quite dangerous, and some of those people have had to kind of roll back. But we always like to say that, AI is not going to necessarily replace you, but someone with AI will. I think that's going to get us really far. If you zoom out the way I know Joel has been prompting in the chat to zoom out, like, we're going to be completely rethinking the workforce at a certain point. So copywriters, that was a first area of shrinking. I saw it firsthand. Another area, which as a consumer, I think can be beneficial is, customer service. But again, we're going to see, there's customer service is one of in DTC companies and the companies that I've worked with can be one of the most expensive departments to run because of the amount of people it costs to staff the amount of requests for these big companies. So it's an area which is ripe for, in reinvention, but there's already some great tools. Fin is incredible. It's something called where they've taken an outcome-based pricing strategy. That's the big conversation in SaaS and enterprise AI tools. So we're going to see some shrinkage and some change there. But the way I also have seen it is those are the two most vulnerable, but there's a lot. I mean, long term, we'll even see the way the doctors practice change. Doctors are already talking about patients coming into their office and have already done all their own research. So patients are asking different questions now. So we're going to see everything completely radicalized, I think. But right now, 100%, I've already seen it in creative, in some photography as well, depending on your level of, quality and what your company needs, and customer service, as those top three come to mind as close to, my area of expertise. With that said, I have also seen case studies and worked with clients that have retrained, reskilled, and been able to shift that workforce, or at least some of it, to be able to double down and increase the output. So there's really two ways to think about it. There's companies that are going to say, I'm going to cut and save, and then they're going to say, all right, all these people that I can lay off, all these positions that I can change, I'm going to take all that and I'm going to, keep it for the company or whatnot. They're cut and save. Then there's reinvest and 10x. And that's, I'm going to rescale, I'm going to retrain, I'm going to utilize this technology, and I'm going to figure out where are the ways that we can get even more output with the people and the technology that we have. And so it's just two different mindsets. And it's not, all black and white. There's certain areas where you may have to, you may get to or have to cut and save, and there may be areas where you can retrain. But I always would challenge someone who's all cut and save. Can't AI do all that? Why can't you just have everything we done with AI? Is, where's the area that you're going to actually reskill all of the people? Like, is there an opportunity that you're missing out on here that can actually drive revenue and can actually drive, greatness in the future? I just think sometimes it's a little bit one-sided. So I get a little concerned about that, but there's also a huge opportunity depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. Well, it's always that, right? Glass half full, half empty kind of thinking and whatnot. I have a friend who's a dermatologist and he owns a dermatology practice, and I think he said that his agents that are scheduling appointments, real people, it was upwards of about 27 hours a week, just interacting with the patient and everything. And so they launched this AI scheduling conversational, GPT, And instantly, he was able to repurpose these people for other tasks, supporting the doctors, supporting
Cool.
the doctor assistants. And I really felt when I just kind of test drove it that it was uniquely real. I mean,
Yeah.
wait, uniquely real. So when you think about business efficiency, when you think about, time is money, and you think about all that we think about as we run businesses, that this is a friend and not a foe. In fact, I think I told you, Kathleen, that somebody asked me, what do you think about AI? And this was months ago. And I said, AI stands for accelerate income. And it was just like, if you really own it and you understand it, then it can help the business thrive. It can help the business be more efficient. There's a question that I'd like your comment on, because it came from Mike. AI coaches are great, but they don't have the context of you. Do you use customer GPTs for business and personal things to train AI chat GPT to know you, so the responses are tailored to you? I've been helping others win that with that for great results in trying agents. And I know one of the things you have in the replaceability question is just the connection piece of humanity, right? So what would you say to Mike's question? Because being a guy that coaches live, and being a guy that has a lot of content and wanting to provide access, just like all of our instructors want to provide knowledge-based access to their content. It's not a good thing, and it's not a bad thing, and it's not one or the other, I think. But what's your take on this whole thing? Because it is reliable based on that knowledge base. It doesn't have hallucinations or drifts, right? It stays within that. And ours, when you ask any one of our AI agents something that is not in that closed system, they'll tell you they can't answer it. So go off on Mike for a second, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I think what we've created with Fuel is really great because it's confined and it makes sense with the accompaniment of the course. And I think that the user is the person in the case that is going to provide context of their situation. Now, I think the question here, I think there might have been just a typo, is do you use custom GPTs for business? Absolutely, especially when I first started consulting in AI. It was a huge piece that we used, and even creating custom GPTs per team, per like micro task. I found that a lot of these GPTs and tools like it are really best suited when you get very specific. Sometimes when you try to use GPTs for something too large, you don't get the best output. So like I have clients that have thousands of custom GPTs that they use. Very, very, very micro specific. It's kind of like they have a whole system how they use it. It was something that their leadership drove. So do we use it? Yes, I think. And I think that's kind of what you were asking.
Well, what I know about our own agents is that they can speak in a custom language based on the input that you are giving that agent, right? And so they do train, and we do see that interaction live. I think the interesting thing is when we think about coaching and contextual coaching, the GPT agent is contextual in the sense that it takes your input based on, now it may not have a human relationship with you, but it takes your input and then responds based on that input, which is contextual. Like when I asked Chris, I'm having a hard time making cold calls. I fear making them, and I don't like picking up the phone without a referral. And Chris understands that, given his contextual closed system, that is valuable. And I had somebody the other day that was in a parking lot, and they were doing some fuel stuff, and the GPTs are not live, to the world yet, but was doing some stuff with lessons around, how do I prep a 3-minute lesson on how do I prep for this call? And so the knowledge base is real. The speed of knowledge acquisition is real. The efficiency of knowledge acquisition is real. I mean, we could stack up a million good things about what's happening technology wise. And, Alex, my partner, likes to talk about, wasn't it amazing when Google came out? And you sit here and you think about the amazingness of Google and the predecessor, Bing and Yahoo search and all of that. And they just came in, and their story is so powerful, and how they built this suite contextually around this. And now here we have AI, and Google's got an AI, Gemini, and it's got this, and it is a new world. Um, what are your final thoughts as we think about your expertise in this, and as we wrap up a great Wednesday, a great leadership?
Yeah, this has been really fun. Final thoughts. I wanted to talk because we ended kind of on the, what's going to be replace tasks being replaced. I wanted to talk just a little bit about what's still going to make us irreplaceable and the opportunity that we have. What makes us irreplaceable? Taste. This is a huge topic because AI can generate things. Doesn't mean that it's good. So when it comes to designers and creative, your taste level is your creativity. Another aspect that I don't think that AI can fully ever really take on in the way that we as humans have is relationships. And we know that all great leadership is based on relationships. Now, you will also have relationships with AI, both in business perspective and companionship perspective. However, I think that relationships and true understanding is always going to remain a truly human experience, because I want to remind everyone that AI does not understand what it is saying to you. It is predictive model. We have not reached AGI at this point. People can argue with that, but it really is predicting. The way that it works is not the way that our humans' brains work. It can make mistakes. It is not human. It may seem human, but that's because it's a predictive model. So our relationship capabilities, our creativity, our taste levels are the innately human, irreplaceable aspects. And then the other thing I like to think about is going back to this movie studio in our pockets. We all have access to these tools. We all can create anything with a thought, with a voice prompt, with a text. It will definitely be connected to us immediately here at some point. Originality is the only differentiator when it comes to the future of creativity.
Wow. Say that one more time. Originality.
Is the only differentiator.
It's fresh, right? That's fresh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know that this has been a top 10 leadership live, and I know that your expertise is so strong, and I know that any of our Fuel members would love to connect with you personally, and just follow you and see as you grow into Fuel, and we get your course going and get it live, and just the influence you have, from the day I met you and got referred to you by Stuart, and where we are today. It's the world needs more Kathleen Rosses, and you are original and you are one of a kind. Although you did start off before we went live that Fuel now has a gentleman by the name of Thomas Ross, and he also is an AI specialist. So we got
I see that, and we don't know each other yet. How cool is that, right? So
Yeah,
Tom,
well-
we're gonna do a Ross collab, Tom. We need to work on this.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can come into the Fuel Station channel for our instructors and do a collab, and then we'll have you both on, and we'll go live again
We're
soon.
always learning. Listen, anyone who says they know it all, unless you have been in machine learning for 40 years, and I bet if you have been in machine learning for that long, you also will say there's things I do not know. The heads of all
Yes.
these technologies still say there are things we do not know how this technology fully works. We do not know exactly what the future looks like. There's predictions. So let's all come from that, a constant student, constant learner. That's where we got to be. And I'm all learning from you. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to continue to do that.
My partner Alex says leaders are. It used to be leaders would need to be know-it-alls, and we're way past that now. And he says they need to be learn-it-alls, and that's one of the advantages of what we're seeing in technology is the speed of learning is rapidized.
Yes.
Okay, so how do people get a hold of you? Let's put it in chat.
Yes, at KathleenRossCreative.com and Kathleen Ross Creative on Instagram and Ross Kathleen on LinkedIn. I don't know who Kathleen Ross is on LinkedIn, but they got there before I did, which is impressive. So
And your main
excited.
deal is KathleenRossCreative.com.
Yes, yeah, that's my my website, KathleenRossCreative.com.
Go hang out with Kathleen and let her provide you with some of the ongoing knowledge that she does. She's helped so many wonderful worldwide brands improve how they operate in the marketplace, and she's also a very, very cool person to know. Just that as an aside, just a very cool person to know. So thanks, Kathleen, for your time today, and I know that there will be some follow up with all these people that are on YouTube live stream and on the platform, and it's been awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see everybody next Wednesday, same time, same channel for another Leadership Live. Until then, make sure that you keep humanity at the front end of technology, but bring technology behind that. See you guys next week.